Hello, my name is Stephanie Toman and I'm putting together some video-based learning for students and staff, and you can use this in your assignments. It might be in your other work at university, but this one's particularly about group work and group work in presentations, which is quite a common thing that's asked of us as students and also as staff. So I'm going to take you through it. It's been brought to my attention by some students that were struggling with it a little bit due to versions, due to being in different places at different times and trying to collaborate using this sort of method. So what I've got here, as you can see on screen, is we've got a presentation that what I've done is I've used 365. It's on OneDrive. So there's things that we need to think about. First of all, it's about a creator who I'm going to have as myself. I'm going to create the PowerPoint. I'm doing it through Microsoft Office 365, which is naturally collaborative. In other words, people can work on it together simultaneously. You can actually see live actions from others in the group that are allowed to share it. Actually sharing it correctly with a group of people who want to work on it with you, and you're all going to work collaboratively to come to a final PowerPoint presentation that you're probably going to have to present. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through some of these slides. You can see that I haven't put some text on them. I've just put some information that's already on the designer slide that I've got. You've got some pictures, design shaped images. I'm going to show you how to make those look better, look good. And you can see that these are quite nice. We come down. This is how to use what we call the designer feature, which is something I'll show you. And it's while you're thinking about inserting an image, when you've inserted it, it will fix it in the design that you've picked. So I picked a template initially, and then that template, I brought in images of my own because it's template showing architecture, and this one's more about computers. So I brought them in, and then the design feature will allow me to, if you just click on up here, you'll see it. Designer feature, as you'll see, will allow me to pick different ways of putting that in. So if you look at the one previously and the design feature, you can see how you can make it look whichever way you wish. So lovely little features going on here that can make it look very professional. So we've got other things going on, how to create that PowerPoint, some little bits and bobs before we get started. I've put a team in here. They're not real. There are our names in a team, but these pictures are not of us. They're a team pictures if you want to put those in as well, if you're a group of students doing the presentation. Then we've got things like versions, how to find out different versions because you're using OneDrive, so you can go back to an earlier version. If you got rid of something and you decide that you do want it, you could go back and get that. And then there's a summary. There's quite a lot going on here. It's a lot on one slide as well, probably not really appropriate if you were sort of showing it to other people. There's lots of information on here that could be quite useful. And basically the content of this I'm going to show you is to work collaboratively. So that's what we're doing. And we're going to use Office 365 in order to do that. It does it naturally. We're going to use a template. And we're going to make sure that we save to the OneDrive and the same OneDrive. So we don't have one of our colleagues using their personal OneDrive and everyone else using a works in OneDrive. In this case, this would be a Coventry University OneDrive would be the sensible medium to use for us to tap into together and share. In the top right hand corner of a PowerPoint, you will have this option up here. If I just drop it down there, you've got this option to share. So this means that when we do this, we can send email links to those that we do want to share. And we can also, as you can see just below, we can edit their permissions. Generally, if you're all doing something together, then you're going to give full permissions to everybody so that they can change things, edit things, etc. You've got a desktop version, so if you wanted to click on there again, on here, you've got open it in desktop version. And desktop versions will give you more features than you would get in a version that's on OneDrive, a web browser version, okay? So it's up to you. You could do it that way, bring it down, change it and upload it again, but most people do it generally where they are and do it within OneDrive. But that option's there as well, because you might be doing something a bit more complicated. The design panel I showed you earlier, and you can add text and images, so we can have a look at those things as well. There's also a feature called reuse. The reuse feature is in the home tab. So if you go to the home tab and you've got along here, you've got these duplicate reuse slides there. So you've got these little things alongside the new slides, so the ones that you can bring in new. So what the reuse feature does is you can go to a PowerPoint presentation, you've got something else and you've got some text there, or you've got image on a slide that you want to bring in, or the whole slide usually is the thing that you do. You can bring that in, and if you've done audio on it or anything else that it carries with regard to formatting, templates, design, etc., all of that will be brought in if you just click where you want to place it when you use the feature. And you go to if I click on it, I would go and find the slide, the PowerPoint slide that I need, and double click on it, and it will bring it into the PowerPoint as it is in total. So you're not having to reformat it, redo the audio, etc. So if we carry on, we've got our content, as I said. It's got a bit of a summary, and it just keeps reinforcing this thing. And you can see here, if we go back to the designer slide, how that can look. This slide here, make sure we click on it. There you go. And you can, as I said, you can change things with regard to that as you go along. And I tended to just keep changing them, to be honest. And you can see how it was brought in initially on the first one, and how it can make it look so much more professional if you choose one of the other features. So let's go back to the beginning. So we've got a slide. So what I've done is I've gone to insert, and I'm going to go to design. So I'm going to do my templates. That's where I'm going. So I want, I'm going to open a new, and then I'm going to pick a template from here. This is how I did things. And what I did is I picked a sort of sharp designer with sharp lines, etc. A bit like the abstract, but I picked the angle lines design. We can pick anything though, anything that you feel that goes with what you're presenting. It could be a laboratory design. They're all very different. So let's pick that one. So it comes in and we get our slides. So it gives us an overview as well, which is really quite helpful. If I click on that one, and there's my designer slide over there, you can see that it has these lots of different things that I could use. So I could add my name in there. I could change how I have all of my titles if I wish, bold, italic, sort of that sort of thing if I wanted to do that. I've got another one here where I might have elements, and I might fill in the elements. I might change the image. So if I click on the image and I delete, then I could just insert an image from online. You can see it's slightly different when we're sort of on a OneDrive form of presentation. Whereas if I actually save this, if I go to save as, and make sure it is on the OneDrive. So if I look down here, I've got save a copy online, and then presentation, and then I make sure that I save it in the shared documents in OneDrive, and it's the Coventry University, you can see there. So I could call it a copy, but I could actually call it labs. So it's got a different name. Create the copy, and that will now be on the OneDrive. I could, if I wanted more features than I have, as I said when I came onto here, if I go to into insert and I go to look at the pictures now, I still haven't got, I've got a search on the web, so it's slightly different, but it's the same thing when you get in there. And I'm going to put some pictures of, let's just put test tubes. I know life's a little bit more than a test tube. Let's pop a space in between those. Anything really that you think might come in handy. And we've got some stuff here and there. It depends on what you want to use. If I click on, double click on that, that will bring that in. And then you can see that I can fix it in the way that I want. And it's even putting on that one, it even put in some suggestions for me with regard to the atoms. A bit slow, it'll get there. It's coming up in a different format, but that's the idea. And you've even got where it's got like a nice hexagon diagram which it's trying to load. So that's the way that you can bring in the pictures and the images. If we go back to our previous presentation that we did, it also has, you can put stuff in that you want. This one was really useful because I brought it in just as a basic insert, and on this one, because this one's on the desktop version, when I go in here and I click on this, I can actually delete the current, and then it gives me the option here to insert a picture from a device, or I can actually just click on there, make sure that's available, go into the insert, and the picture, it's the same thing, just search on the web, and then I can bring in a, let's say, a computer, because it's slightly different, and I could bring something in. It might come in quite large, it comes in like that, and I might just change it so it looks a bit more professional. It really depends on how I want to do things. So adding the images, etc., is really easy. You could also obviously have those images on your device so that you're not going looking for them. You've got specific ones that you want to do on there. And that way, if you delete one of these, you can bring those in this way. So you would insert things from your device and bring them in that way. The other features that you have, if we go back towards our summary, just to keep us on track, with working collaboratively, I've shared it, so that's what I'm going to do. Click on the share, click on this area, and I'm going to type in the people I want to share it. So what I'm going to do is put my own name in. I'm going to put Joshua, and I'm going to put Capita. So you could put your student colleagues in there. You can add a message. This is a test, so please ignore. So obviously you're not going to do that to your colleagues. And then what you can do is you can go into the edit feature here, make sure that they can all edit, because if not, they're only going to be able to view it. They can't download it, so they can't do anything with it apart from just looking at it. So make sure that they can edit. If you go into here, into the link settings, you've got a lot more options there as well. If you want people in Coventry, people existing access, etc. So we can stick with that, and then we can send them that link so that they can then share. So they receive that invite, and that way they will be shared on that presentation on OneDrive, and then you can just close it. If you drop that down again, you can see if you've got manage access, you will see those people coming in here. We've got one candidate, the owner, and it looks like it may not have done one for Cafelat, so let's just check. Let's do Cafelat. This could sort of happen. There we go. Just put that in. Make sure we do, and then send that link. And then what you can do is, once again, it might be slow, but you need to change, make sure that the access is there. More people may have access, because access to Cafelat is always in there already. It's Joshua that's different. Okay, so you can check that, but if you're working as from scratch, as you will be possibly, you won't have the shared staff folders that I have, so everything should be straightforward, and those people as the owner, and then the shared with full edit permissions are all there. So we looked around that little bit. You've also got, as I said, you can download the whole thing down to the desktop if you want to work there. And let's just do that for a moment. Just don't take any notices. Potential risk, I know it's not. So I'm just going to continue here. They're going to bring it down. That's it on there, but I'm going to... So in the desktop version, you can see things you may not have noticed as yet, but you can see there's things that's slightly different. You've got a record and presenting teams. You've still got your option of sharing, exactly the same. I just minimize this, and if we just close that off, we can get back to this one that we had on the OneDrive, as you can see up there. And you can see that you don't have the record, but you have present in Teams, start from the beginning, which means that you can do the recording on here within the PowerPoint itself. So what I'm actually doing is using software that records everything that goes on within it. So you can just do it straightforwardly in here. So if I started recording, I get the full screen and I get the option to record. You can see the software I'm using is continuing to record this. I can just close that down. We're back to the one that's online, and then down here we have the other one that is going to be the desktop version. People can get confused about these things, but just remember that they look a little bit differently, and this version, the desktop version, will have a lot more features within it, and they're a little bit more laid out, if you like. You know, earlier we had the reuse slides where it was just the little icon that was coming down here, but it's all the same stuff. And then you've also got, remember, where in both of these versions you have your audio stuff that you can use. You've got your pictures we looked at earlier, and then you've got all of the things coming along here, and there's your media section at the end. So you have the option to record if you want to do something just on that area and then maybe upload it, or if you want to pop in a video in or something like that, you've got this option here. And you might do what I do, is where you just start from the beginning, record, pause when you want to do something else, etc., etc. So there's quite a lot going on. It's a really good little tool. The key thing is, as we said, is to get these things right at the beginning. So it's about thinking about how you're going to work together as a team, how you're going to access that same medium, if you like, what template you're using, make sure it's saved to the OneDrive and the same OneDrive, and you can access it then, as it says here, from computer, from tablet, from phone, but make sure that all of that is there. The right people have the right share permissions, and they are the right people too. If you need or want to use the desktop version, you can just by downloading it. And another thing to be aware of is the AutoSave option, as it just says here on this point here. It saves each change as it's made, so it's very live, in other words. So you should, if you have that on, as you can just see up here, that will automatically keep saving all of the changes that you've made. And then you can go on. I haven't done any transitions or animations and motions, but you can go on to do things like that, which will give it that little bit more. Don't overdo it, because then you'll get a presentation that's glamorous, but people stop thinking or listening to what you're talking about. And then obviously you've got that design ideas. You can keep changing those as much as you want, and make sure the audio is working okay. You can always restart it, delete it, and redo that again. And then there's all the little tips that we've had along the way, making sure that you all do your little bits that you want to do. You also have the added, if you go to the home area, you also have in the review, you have comments. So you can have your comments up, and that way you can talk to each other. So you can actually let each other know what you are actually doing and how it's affecting the PowerPoint. If it's something that you think everyone needs to be aware of, then you can do that and make sure that everybody can control and enter to post. So you could just pop something in there. I'll just put a name out, but you could put something in there that was important, and then someone can come along like myself and have a look and see if I think it's something I need to be aware of or do something about, react to, in other words. You also have help. The help is great, and also in the insert area with the auditing, etc., you do have a screen recording. So if I click on that, you'll see that it will actually do select an area. You can record a part of something, you can do audio, so you've got all of that stuff going on as well. It's definitely worth playing with and trying things out. So there's a lot going on, a lot you can do, but to begin with, the best thing to do, I think, is keep it simple. If we go to save it again, This is the desktop version, so if I close it, it still should be saved within what I've done in the one up here. So if I escape from this, this is just in a presenting view. There we go, back to normal. Use the escape key, that'll take you out. So there's lots of things that you can do. So we'll check all of these out along the way and see what's useful and what isn't, and just stick to what you really know and come up with something that you can all get to, you can all use, and you can all present together. And hopefully, might see a few, you might send them to me, probably not, but hopefully these group presentations, you'll be thinking more about what's in it rather than what you need to do with regard to IT. So good luck with them. I hope they turn out okay, but the best way to do it is have fun and trial and error, really. Okay, good luck. Thank you.